quarterback yet. Schedule was released yesterday. Questions still surrounding their signal caller. There's concern they could get out to a really slow start. Listen to what Dano had to say about this yesterday.
Look at that start of the schedule for the Steelers and imagine that the quarterback.
Yeah, and you know,
feel like with what he's got around him, they would still do well there?
No.
I
think you're staring at 0-6.
I mean, like honestly, I mean, think about the Jets.
Love you, Mason.
I mean, I'll tell you what. Aaron Glenn will blitz him into oblivion. The Seahawks, Mike McDonald, that's a pretty good defensive coordinator. All right. And with the Patriots, Mike Vrabel with that new defensive line up there in New England. The Vikings with Brian Flores, with the man, come on.
You know what that's about? You know what that's about? See, that damn Mr. Chippendales, Louis Riddick, okay, and Dan Orlovsky, they did that just to get on my nerve. They did it for a sake because they knew it was going to be picked up by First Take. That's what they did. They did that to take a shot at me. 0-6, my Steelers. I mean, but they're right.
I thought you were going to defend us.
I can't. I was trying to gumption up the nerve to defend it.
Let's get Aaron Rodgers.
You cannot. Listen, you have to. Because with Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, you cannot expect the Steelers to win football games. Period.
Really?
Cannot expect the Steelers to win football games. And not only that, now Pickens is gone. And if I'm Metcalf, I'm going like this. Why the hell did I end up here? Why? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I got his bag, $232 million. He deserves it. But I'm like, wait a minute now. You a wide receiver. Who the hell gonna throw you a football? Who the hell's gonna throw you a football?
Aaron Rodgers is going to be playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, that's all I care about.
I can't.
Now, is it going to make a difference?
Yeah, so how many games are they winning?
Here's the thing. It makes them significantly better if Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback over what they'd be with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback. There is no way that we could sit here and say even a diminished Aaron Rodgers is the same as Mason Rudolph. But it still makes them a team that won't pick high enough to get the quarterback.
Well, let me ask you this question, both of you this question. How much better, if at all, do you all feel Justin Fields and Russell Wilson are above the Aaron Rodgers that you saw last season?
I think what Justin Fields can do with his athleticism is what would elevate him above Aaron Rodgers to me, and his youth as well, right? The ability, the dynamic level of play you can get from his arm and his legs if you continue to develop him, especially the way Arthur Smith wants to play football. I believe they gave up on him too soon last year. I believe if you continue to play with Justin Fields, he continues to grow under that organization. He's the quarterback of the team this year. This is truly what I believe. And now when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, things have to be tailored to what he wants to do. Have you built the pieces around to do that? Here is my fear with the Pittsburgh Steelers, that with Cam Hayward, with drafting another D tackle in the first round, with having T.J. Watt, with adding Darius Slay on the outside, Minka Fitzpatrick, having Joey Porter Jr. on the outside, I still think they're going to be too good to lose enough to change your future. They're going to be too good to be in the spot to grab a quarterback next year that changes where they are.
I've always said with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Stephen A., you would know about this in the NBA, the worst place you can be is in the middle.
Of course.
It's the worst place you can be in sports, and that, to me, is going to be the Achilles heel of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Aaron Rodgers will ultimately be with the Steelers. They'll win just enough where they won't have an opportunity to go get maybe one of the leaders.
And that's why I'm upset they didn't draft Shedeur Sanders. Because the point is that if you expect to be good enough to compete, that's middle of the road. At least you would have had a quarterback you would have spent this upcoming season developing so it could be in the future, as opposed to still being out there looking for one.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's pull up the schedule really quick. Do we have that? RC, I'm curious. So assuming it's Aaron Rodgers there, what's a realistic record for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Honestly, I believe if you have Aaron Rodgers, it's realistic for this team to be competing to be a game above 500. I do believe it's a good enough team to win 8 or 9 games. And when you think about Mike Tomlin's history as the head coach, they're at least that every single year. And you're going to look at the Dolphins game down the stretch for the Jets last year. You're going to look at the Jacksonville game down the stretch for the Jets last year. And you're going to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers can still throw the football. Aaron Rodgers can still play with accuracy. If Aaron Rodgers has time, if Aaron Rodgers has a run game, then this team can compete. And we know what they could be defensively with the way they turn the football over, the way they rush the passer on the outside with the outside linebackers. Mika Fitzpatrick's tendency and ability to turn the football over on the back end, this team can be good enough. But isn't that why Pittsburgh Steelers fans lament the Mike Tomlin tenure? Because so much on the back half of this has just been good enough? When do you make a decision that allows you to be better than that, better than middle of the road? And I agree with you, Stephen A. Steelers fans laughed at my reaction for saying they should have drafted Shedeur Sanders. With everything I'm hearing about Cleveland and how he started his tenure there, I was right. You were right. Yeah. Many of us were correct in that should have been the pick at 21.
You know, RC, it's funny just hearing you talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's like how the mighty has fallen off.
Yeah.
Think about it. We're talking about the 6-time Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers, and we're talking about them hovering around 8-9 wins.
We're talking about a team, and we all love Mike Tomlin. We really, really do. Profoundly respect that man. They have not won a playoff game since 2016. Do y'all understand how bad that is? You are the Steelers, and you have not won a playoff game in 9 years. That's bad.
I think playoff-wise, this team, or even just based on their records, I believe they underachieved right before Big Ben fell off, right when you had the Killer Bees. That was the team I felt like had championship caliber talent on that team. So I feel like Mike Tomlin didn't get the full potential out of that team. And then I feel like he's overachieved the last 2 years of Big Ben's career, and then now playing with the Duck Hodges and the Mason Rudolphs and the Kenny Pickett. And he's built this team up to make you think they were something they aren't, and then we watch them get pounced and bounced early in every playoff.
Been in the playoffs for the last 5 years. 2020, they've been in the playoffs every year except for one. That 2020 playoff game was when they finished 12-4. And gave up 48 points to Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns in a wild card playoff game. Every year since, they have not won more than, they won 10-7 over the last 2 years. But that's what we're talking about here. Wild card, wild card, wild card.
And the biggest piece, right, to me, Stephen A., the most telling piece about those games is the deficits that they faced in all of those playoff games. So what is that? Is that not being prepared? Is that not being talented enough? They have to find the answer. And I say this, and people get mad at me, I believe that Mike Tomlin is unfireable. I believe if Mike Tomlin steps away from being the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, that should be his decision. And I've said time and time again, I do believe that should be the decision he makes. I believe Mike Tomlin should coach in another organization. Mike Tomlin should be a fresh voice somewhere else, because I believe as great as a coach he is, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, I believe his voice has run stale there. I believe he's allowed that team to reach the highest of heights they're going to reach unless they can get a top-tier quarterback.
So I'm trying to decipher what you're saying.
He needs to go have his Andy Reid Kansas City run.
I got you. But in other words, it should be on his terms. It shouldn't be the Steelers saying leave. It should be him saying, I want to leave. He
should say, I want to go.
Okay.
And he's never going to do that because he refuses to run from coaching.
I partially agree with you there, but I also think about just sports culture. Let's be fair, and I think even Mike Tomlin would.
Hôm nay mình sẽ hướng dẫn các bạn cách làm một chiếc túi mini cho búp bê nha. Nguyên liệu của mình đây, mình sẽ sử dụng len để mình làm nhé. Hai màu sắc như thế này, màu hồng và màu xanh lá cây này. Sử dụng kim mắc len